Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Morning Mobility with NATEFIT, where we spend 15 minutes helping you create a daily movement habit. Today, we're going to focus on hips and spine. We're going to start off warming up our hips in our hip car position, lying on your side, clasping your hands together. And here we go. Starting with hip flexion, pulling that knee to the chest. I want you to go nice and slow through this. I'm going to open up into abduction, pointing that knee to the ceiling. Internally rotating, try to rotate that ankle all the way behind the knee. Press the knee back into extension, squeeze your glute. Return to midline, knees together. And we'll reverse. Extension, abduction, pointing the knee to the ceiling. Turn that knee towards the shoulder. Pull the knee to the shoulder. Return to midline, knees together. Again, flexion, knee to the chest, high as you can. Now point it to the ceiling. Rotating, go nice and slow through this. Press that knee back as far as you can. Reach down to midline, knees together. And reverse, reaching back. Straight up first. Rotate externally. Pull the knee to the shoulder. Return to midline, knees together. And again, flexion, abduction, internal rotation, extension, adduction, knees together, and reverse, extension, abduction, external rotation, flexion, adduction, knees together. We'll flip over to the other side. Okay, starting again here. Flexion, pull that knee to the chest. Point the knee to the ceiling. Rotating that ankle behind the knee, nice and slow. Pressing back into extension. Return to midline. Knees together. And reverse, extension. Abduction. External rotation. Flexion. Adduction. Knees together. And again, nice and slow. Again, we want all of these movements to be as controlled as possible, getting as much range in each movement as possible. Coming down to midline, knees together, and reverse. Extension, abduction, external rotation, flexion, adduction, knees together. And we have one more here. Pulling that knee to the chest, point to the ceiling, rotating that ankle behind the knee, pressing back into extension, return to midline, knees together, and finishing off by reversing. Extension, abduction, external rotation, flexion, adduction, knees together. Okay, we're going to go right into hip rotation. So we're going to go back into our 90-90 position, if you remember this from previous classes. 90 degrees in the front leg, 90 degrees in the back leg. We're going to turn our shoulders towards that back leg, hands behind us. And then from here, we are going to lift up. We're going to do 5 reps of this. I want you to go nice and slow. I want you to create as much tension in the hip as possible. You're going to feel a pinch at the top. Push past that a little bit. We're working on the joint capsule here, trying to rotate the femur in socket. Okay, in position. And pulling that knee up high as you can. And then actively pressing down all the way to the ground and back up. High as you can. You should notice you can get a little bit higher each time. Pressing down. Again, up. Keeping this knee on the ground as we do it to lock our pelvis in place. Again, we are just trying to rotate the femur in socket. Coming back up. This is number 4. High as you can. Good. And back down. And one more. Up, 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 up. And actively pressing down. Good. We will flip over to the other side. "90 degrees, 90 degrees." Turn the shoulders. And here we go. Up, 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 up. You'll notice one side feels a little worse than the other. And actively pressing down. For some of you, you're going to feel a little bit of pressure in the knee. If that's the case, you can turn your foot up towards the ceiling and that will take that away. Coming back up. And down. Again, keeping this knee on the ground. Up. Pull, pull, pull. And down. Actively pressing down, creating tension in that hip. Down. And one more time here. External rotation. And internal rotation. Good. Next, we're going to go to our thoracic spine cars. Again, I like to do it in kneeling position. If this is uncomfortable on your ankles, put something under your butt so you can sit up. You can do it from this position as well, or seated on a chair. Hands on the shoulders. Starting off with flexion, tucking that rib cage down. Rotation on axis, just turning our shoulders. Dropping one shoulder down to the side. And then picking that rib cage up as high as you can. Good. Rotating to the other side. Turn those shoulders. Dropping that shoulder down to the side. And back around in front. Coming back to neutral. And starting again. Tucking the ribs. This is flexion. Rotation. Lateral flexion. Extension. Rotation. Lateral flexion. And back around in front. Again, a great cue for this one is we are drawing a circle with our chest. Rotation. Lateral flexion. Extension. Rotation. Lateral flexion. Back around in front. And we will do 3 in the other direction. Tucking those ribs. Turning the shoulders as far as you can. Get as much range as possible. Pulling that shoulder down to the side. Flaring that rib cage up high as you can. Rotate by turning the shoulders. Dropping the shoulder down to the side. Coming back around in front. And again. Flexion. Rotation. Lateral flexion. Extension. Rotation. Lateral flexion. Back around in front. One more time here. Tucking the rib cage. Turning the shoulders. Dropping that shoulder down. Feel a stretch in here. Extend up. Rotating to the other side. Dropping that shoulder down to the side. And back around in front. Okay, next we are going to go to internal rotation of the hips. This is one we haven't done yet. For this one, we want to place our heels on the ground. You're going to get those hips as close to those heels as possible. This is the birthing position. For this, we are going to take our knee and we are going to attempt to drop it down as far as you can. As you do this, I want you to try not to rotate the pelvis. We are just trying to rotate that femur and socket. Again, this is focused on internal rotation. When we come back out of it, you're going to separate your knees as far as possible. And then you're going to keep that knee locked in place. as we just rotate this one in socket. So we're gonna do 5 aside. So chest up nice and tall. This one's not gonna feel good for most people. Women tend to have more internal rotation than men. So men, you are gonna feel this one. You'll feel a pinch in that hip. And then we're gonna open up nice and slow. I want you to stay active during this. This is an active exercise, not a passive one. Opening those legs up as much as possible, dropping that knee back down. Good. Open up again, nice and slow. Pushing both knees as far apart as possible. And again, if you're not feeling it, I want you to try and extend that lower back. Keep the chest tall, pressing down into internal rotation and externally rotating. Knees wide. That was 3. Nice and slow. Again, for most of you, this is going to be very uncomfortable. Good. Opening back up. Knees wide. Keep that knee locked in place. And rotating back down. Good. Again, you should notice an improvement with every rep. Knees wide. And we'll go to the other side. If you need to adjust, you can pull your hips a little closer to those heels. And here we go. Pressing down. Again, you'll notice one side has a lot more rotation than the other. Opening wide. And back down. Press, 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 press. Again, even though you feel discomfort, you won't hurt anything. Nice and wide. Again, when we work on rotation, we're focused on the joint capsule. We have a bunch of connective tissue that holds our joint in place, and we are actively putting force into that connective tissue to create space in the joint. This is number 4. Opening up as wide as you can. And last one, pressing down, press, press, press. And opening up. Okay, we're going to go into spine rotation. And this is one we've done in previous classes. We're going to go into our quadruped position, hand behind the head. For all you golfers out there, this is going to get a lot more rotation in your thoracic spine. Hand behind the head, I'll just demonstrate one. We're going to lift that elbow to the ceiling and look up as high as we can. We're going to do 5 per side. So here we go in position, rotating that elbow up, looking up as high as you can. Good. And then bringing our elbows together. Back up. Again, try to look at that elbow the whole time. That's 2. 3. 4. Last one. Look up high as you can. And 5. Excellent. We'll flip over to the other side. Hand behind the head. And here we go. Again, in this kneeling position, it locks our hip in place. So we primarily get rotation out of the thoracic spine. Bringing those elbows together. And rotating back up. Look at that elbow. Point it as high as you can. And closing. Opening up. Elbow to the ceiling. And back down. That's 3. Opening up. 4. Closing the elbows. And one more. Open, open, open. And closing. Good. We're going to go back into our hip car position. Now that we've opened up range in rotation, we are going to practice that new range by going into our hip car position. If you want to pause the video and do another round of those 90-90s and that birthing position. We call that the bear sit internal rotation. Do another round of those. Your hip will feel a lot better before you come into these hip cars. Okay. Pulling the knee to the chest. That's flexion. Pointing the knee to the ceiling. Go nice and slow through this. Again, we've gained lots of rotation through those exercises. So we're going to try to get as much rotation as possible. Pressing back into extension. Return to midline, knees together. And reverse, press that knee back. Open up, pointing the knee to the ceiling. Nice and slow through this external rotation. Point the knee to the shoulder. Pull the knee to the shoulder. Return to midline. Knees together. And again, flexion. Point the knee to the ceiling in abduction. Internally rotating, rotate that ankle in line with the knee. Press that knee back into extension. Return to midline, knees together. And again, point the knee to the ceiling. Turn that knee towards the shoulder. Pull the knee to the shoulder. Return to midline, knees together. One more time here. Flexion. Abduction. Internal rotation, rotating slowly. Pressing that knee back. Return to midline, knees together. And reverse. Extension. Abduction. External rotation. Flexion. Adduction. Knees together. Flip over to the other side. Clasping those hands together. And here we go. Flexion. Abduction. Internal rotation. Extension. Adduction. Knees together. Extension. Abduction. External rotation. Flexion. Adduction. Knees together. Knee to the chest. Pointed to the ceiling. Rotate that ankle behind the knee. Pressing that knee back. Return to midline. Knees together. And reverse. Point that knee to the ceiling. Point the knee to the shoulder. Pull the knee to the shoulder. Return to midline. Knees together. This is our last one. I want you to get as much range as possible. Pull the knee to the chest, high as you can. Point that knee to the ceiling. Nice and slow, rotating that ankle behind the knee. Pressing that knee back into extension. Squeeze the glute. Return to midline. Knees together. And reverse, pressing that knee back. Point to the ceiling. Externally rotating. Pull the knee to the shoulder. Return to midline. Knees together. And that is another episode of Morning Mobility with NATEFIT. Thank you for joining. If you liked the class, please give it a thumbs up. If you liked any of the exercises, please comment in the comment section. And I will see you tomorrow morning.